Welcome to this week's episode of Marv On Air. Today is Thursday, October 24th, 2024, and things are just going insane, especially in the NFL universe, namely D-Hop to the Chiefs. And then do not get me started on what Chris Collinsworth will have to say about that. Speaking of announcers, this week joining us is Landon Jepson, aspiring sports announcer. You're not going to want to miss that interview. He has a lot of great things to say. Had a lot more knowledge than we thought he would. And then in the second half, don't go anywhere once that interview is over. The boys and I will be spitting absolute piss missiles into our mics, talking college football, Handicap Hour, where we break down every single game in the NFL slate this weekend, and Zero to Hero. Without further ado, here's Landon. Look at this guy.
Hammer! Whoa, close! Oh my God, I should pop off on your ass left with the coat.
We feed family.
Come on, you're telling me. One sec.
Iowa State is going to win this game.
Now I'm a bromsexual and
Go broad.
Joining us now is a man that loved the Berg so much he went straight from one to another. A man that growing up maybe watched football games a little bit differently than the rest of us. An impression legend and one of the next greatest sports announcers in the making, Mr. Landon Jepson. Landon, how are we doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
And, fellas, it's a pleasure to be with you tonight. But no, I'm doing fantastic, Just like you said, from one Berg to the next, and, we're living it up here, and everything is going great. And just like you said, sportscasting is a dream, It's got to be like Gus Johnson. Chris Collinsworth, my man too, but Gus Johnson, got to be like him. But no, everything's going great. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're great. We're gonna jump right on into that, but it kind of foreshadowed it a little bit. That what do they call that? Intense foreshadowing, or subtle foreshadowing.
We'll go with that.
I love that. Those are good. Okay, so Landon, you're studying sports broadcasting at the University of Wartburg. Is that what you guys call it? Wartburg University up there?
Wartburg College, yeah.
Wartburg College, okay. Hey, no offense to Wartburg. Actually, it's where I'm originally from, Waverly, Iowa. So do love the W up there. No Y's, just W's for you guys. What has that been like? Is it been a little bit more intense course load than you were expecting, or is it a little bit more gym class-esque?
Well, it's a lot of different things. Well, with my major, I'm a journalism communications major, but my concentrations are in PR, public relations, multimedia journalism, and sports media. With the sports media side of things, I'm doing a lot of writing techniques. I've been writing a lot of stories all over campus this year. I'm taking a news reporting class. I'm the president of Night Vision News right now, so just doing a lot of different stuff with sports around campus activities as well. Just staying up here involved as well. I got to do a volleyball game a couple weeks ago, football game next week. Ooh. Once the boys are back in town, so hopefully I can be on the call for that one. But with fall break coming up this week, it's kind of just getting a couple more papers done and getting a couple more of those shows. But I'm in the radio station as well. I'm the productions head, so I do a lot of the sounders and promos for that. So I get to put that stuff in the radio as well. So for example, the one I did today was for an event we're doing here on campus for Halloween, and I just had to make a couple effects on Adobe Audition and Premiere Pro are two of the apps that I've been using a lot recently, just for a lot of the stuff I've been doing in classes. But the workload, it's a lot. It's different. Last year I had a class that focused just mainly on radio, but this year it's news reporting. And then second semester I'll get into sports writing and announcing and a lot of those classes. And then my junior and senior year will be mainly public relations classes, and then my capstone, which is basically a 15-minute documentary that I'll make with some of my classmates over a topic that we don't know. So everything's good up in the Berg, and we're just staying busy every second.
I feel that. That's definitely something we can attest to down here at the Marv On Air studio. Things are run probably a little bit differently, but I'm sure we keep just as busy. I wanted to say really quickly, I remember growing up, obviously the college football game came out this summer, right? Like big deal when that came out. My first recollection with college football was actually playing it at your house. We were probably 6th grade or maybe 5th grade. I'm not quite sure. And I remember you were definitely really big into football at that point. I wasn't quite as acquainted with football yet. And I'm curious, what made you want to go into sports announcing? This is something that I would say a lot of kids dream of doing, but it's not really a common path per se. What got you directly into that path?
Just like you said, it honestly started from those roots of playing college football, NCAA football 13 and NCAA football 14 with you and your brother when we were just little kids. It's crazy that you remember that because, man, that are the memories. Those are the memories. But, it's just a lot of things. Just growing up listening to a whole bunch of different broadcasters, March Madness and college football and the NFL. It's just been always a dream. And, just the opportunities that I hopefully can get in the future as well. It's just the little side of things. That's, for me, it really doesn't matter. I just want to be on the field, on the mic, one-on-one interviews, anything. I just want to be there. My main goal, NFL will be fun, but MLB, I enjoy the most. Baseball is one sport that a lot of people are saying, why do you enjoy baseball so much? But it's just, you get to talk about more than the game. It's a lot more. You still stay the statistics of different teams going into the game with the pitching matchups and like the lineup orders and stuff. And then you get to October and it's the best time of the year for baseball. But it's a bunch of different just ideas. But the main thing, like I said before, it's the broadcasters that I've always watched growing up. Like Gus Johnson's always his call for Michigan versus Ohio State when Curtis Samuel had the game-winning touchdown in overtime. That one's always stuck with me. And just kind of those little games as well. Like the one other one is when Larry Fitzgerald scored the game-winning touchdown. A couple defensive plays, with your Patriots when Butler picked off Russell Wilson in the end zone to win the Super Bowl. It's just a lot of those key moments, and it's just awesome. And like for me, it's when the Royals won the World Series in 2015. It's just another big call. But honestly, the one big turning point for me is when I was on a choir tour in Texas last year, and we went to a Texas Rangers game. And it was the day after they got their World Series rings. And I got to meet the voice of the not the Houston Astros, the Texas Rangers, pardon me. And I got to hold his World Series ring, and it was super cool. And just I got to go on the field and got to get really close with Corey Seager. I didn't get to talk to him, but, just seeing those MLB guys up close is just like you're so close to that dream, and you just want to propel yourself even more. But just the little things and talking to him, he just gave me a lot of guidance what to do. And the broadcaster for them, he started with hockey for 20 years and then got a call for baseball. So it's just those little things that with this career path, you're going to go anywhere. And my goal is just to get to the top. If I have it's the small, work hard, dream big. It's the motto that I've always gone by, but it's starting out great, and I hopefully can keep on going.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about baseball, right? The story of baseball is everything but baseball, right? No one's really watching the games.
You can tell a whole story in the game.
It's everything that's going around the game. Red specifically does have a question for you in conjunction with a little bit of your kind of what you talked about. You kind of hit on all of our points so far. So go ahead, Red.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, if you had to say, you touched on a couple there, but the three main calls and the three main announcers that stick out to you. Like, it can be guys calling now. It could be guys from, the 60s and 70s. What are your favorite three sports calls of all time and your three favorite announcers of all time?
Holy smokes. Oh, my gosh.
Kind of putting you on the spot there.
You got me thinking. Okay, I'll start with NFL. John Madden, honestly. John Madden's one guy that always sticks out to me because he brought the laughter and the impacts of that to this game that made it so great for people to watch. And some of the stuff that he did was so awesome. Oh gosh, what else? For baseball, Vin Scully for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ooh. Legend on the radio. One. He's been a really big one. Another one's Al Michaels. Al Michaels on Monday night during the 90s. A lot of those classic radio and broadcasters on TV. And then, like Jim Nantz, I mentioned Gus Johnson. There's a whole bunch of them, but, it's a lot of those guys. But, it's one of them for me, like I said, is Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson's always been, no matter the sport, whether it be Fox Sports basketball, Fox Sports football with Big Noon Kickoff. It's just, I don't know. There's something with his calls that just make them so fun to watch. And just like I said, and, going on the game experiences, honestly, I think I watched the Iowa-Ohio State game when Ohio State played in Kinnick probably 100 to 200 times because I was at that game, but then I just watching the highlights. I'll never forget Amani Hooker, the first play of the game, having that pick six, and then Josh Jackson's 3 interceptions that game too. Some other games, wow. Honestly, that Royals, when the Kansas City Royals won in 2015, that World Series when they had that bullpen and Wade Davis got the game-winning strikeout to win it in 2015. That was probably another huge memory for me. And then, March Madness, a lot of those upsets when UMBC beat Virginia was a huge one. Just a lot of those big games that just you didn't really understand if they were going to win, but in the end, they kind of just got on top. And and it's like with the music too, like one shining moment for NCAA college basketball March Madness. That's always stuck with me too. That song, it plays and it makes you into the game so much more, and it gets you into the mood for that time of the year. And like it's October, and then you get the Monday night countdown. It's just all those little things that kind of stack up on each other to make the broadcast and just the behind the scenes so special. But like I said, Vince Scully and John Madden, Gus Edwards. Oh, not Gus Edwards. Good Lord, Gus Johnson.
Gus Edwards.
I've been having nightmares of Gus Edwards just being on my fantasy bench.
Fantasy team just ripping you up.
There's a couple others really old ones that I've always kind of listened to. Vince Scully, like I said, John Madden, Frank Gifford's a really old one. Jack Buck's a legend.
Wow, a
lot of stuff for him as well. Doing a lot of stuff for the St. Louis Cardinals. Marv Albert as well. He's another one in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And then honestly, it's
Howard Cosell.
Yes, Howard Cosell.
I think he's one of my favorites. He just has that distinguished voice, and you just hear it, and you're like, "Yep, this is it. This is it."
Yeah, no,
it's kind of that big game voice. They talk about it from time to time. Like, I think Gus Johnson is probably one of the best examples of that. He could be calling ping pong, but you just hear his voice, and it's like, "Yep, this is important. This is intense. This is exciting. I want to pay attention to this." Who are like right now in the game, obviously with the way they've kind of restructured Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football, they have different, Herb Street and Michaels working together. Who thought we would have seen that? That wasn't something I think people saw coming. Of the 3 primetime slates, who's on Monday night? Jim? No.
Joe and Troy.
Joe and Troy. And then Sunday night, Mike Trico and Collinsworth. Of the 3 primetime broadcasts, what are your favorite? Which one's your favorite and why?
That's tough. With Collinsworth and being a Chiefs fan, I get a lot of crap for that. It's just Patrick Mahomes hands off the ball. Wow. What a handoff by Mahomes. It's just those little things, but I honestly, Tom Brady has really surprised me this year. Honestly, he's actually done really good. But
you think so?
Wow, that's a hot take.
Okay, for me, just for him being in his first year, he's actually done pretty well. Like I kind of compare him to Tony Romo in his first year.
Yep.
Tom Brady honestly played in the league a long time, same with Tony Romo, but there's some things that Tom Brady does really well. With him being not as much on the play-by-play side, but his color commentary has been really good, just backing up with the kind of the statistical analysis that he has behind the game. I've been pretty impressed with him, but I think honestly my favorite is probably Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Those two,
I would agree.
Well.
I think that duo is probably the best of the crews right now in the NFL.
I would say if you could get Chris Fowler and Kirk together, like when they do college football, it's
beautiful.
Oh my God, it's poetry. It's amazing. But from the NFL,
Yes.
I do agree. Those 3 are probably the best. You did mention there the music, a lot of the things behind the scenes that kind of add to what is sports, not only the announcing, but just the whole atmosphere in general. I'm kind of curious what, when you're calling a game, because you're actually doing the calling of the games at times. What is your favorite thing, just kind of in the atmosphere, like the crowd? Do you need the crowd to be kind of in it? That's a big one, obviously. Does the stadium, in the NBA, they play little keyboards? Does that play a role? What do you look for if you were to put together your biggest, best, most impressive game atmosphere, what would be like the top thing that you would need?
I kind of think it for me as like college football, for example. Like, for example, Virginia Tech with Enter Sandman, huge one. I need something that's going to get me going. Like one thing that I'll always listen to before I print out my spotter charts, which I used for all the stats for both teams. Swag Surfing. Swag Surfing is a song that I always play before my broadcast. And then watching the Tavon Austin mixtape is another thing that I watch before a lot of my things as well. So those two, and the tell him, man, it just gets you locked in and just hyped. It's awesome. But there's a lot of great pieces that kind of influence people. Like once it gets around March and college basketball starting as well, it's one shining moment. It's the song that I always have just since I was young. My dad showed me when I was young, and it's always kind of stuck with me. And there's the CBS, the intro, it gives you goosebumps because it's that time of the year, and it damn near makes me cry every time I hear it. It's so good. It's just so good.
Oh yeah, during the summer when they put all the mashups of like all of the every like ESPN, Fox, CBS, all of the NFL themes, and you're like, we're almost there. We're gonna make it. We are going to make it. You mentioned the play call card there, or what did you call it? Spot chart.
Yeah, so spotter charts is what we use for both teams. Yep.
Okay, so spotter chart's very interesting to me because my prep for this interview is just words. It's not anything crazy.
Yeah.
What is the difference between, like, you talked a little bit about radio versus like calling a game? What goes into calling a game? What makes a good spot chart versus one that like you're gonna feel underprepared? What do you specifically put on yours? Any like little key notes or hints? Because that's something a lot of people don't necessarily know about those guys up top. They're very, very prepared. They've got sheets of data.
So the one thing that really got me prepared, so last year Wartburg hosted the national semifinals, and ESPN Plus came to Waverly for the game. And we got to have a tour behind the scenes with a lot of those people. And we got to see kind of how like the commercials and stuff work. Their cameramans, all the cameras that they had, both set up an in zone. But then the announcers, just like you said, Nick, it's the preparation that they do in a week is insane. They have papers all lined up on every section of the press box. There's not an open part of the wall. It is all filled with stats, statistics, papers. They probably have, I'd say, 8 to 10 different papers. The amount of statistics that they have on certain players, like, for example, last year, Wartburg had the Defensive Player of the Year, Owen Grover in D3, who was leading the nation in tackles. He was actually a scholar. He's a 4.0 student as well. So basically the dream D3 football player you can imagine, just all over the place. And then with North Central coming to town, a lot of their players were Division I talent moving on to D3. Like, for example, their quarterback, Luke Lane, he's got 4.4 to 4.5 speed. He's a wide receiver recruit at Maryland before he came to play quarterback at a D3 school. But, North Central is one of the powerhouses that Wartburg played. And that game was a crazy game. I was doing a lot of camera work on the sideline for that game, but no, the preparation is insane. Like for us though, we're not doing as much preparation. I usually prioritize between 8 to 12 hours before it's probably about 2 to 3 hours. So like if I start on a Monday for a Saturday kickoff or Saturday volleyball game, I'll start Monday morning just getting names down. And for example, like for the volleyball game that I did, it was Co versus Wartburg in Levick Arena in Waverly, and it was just the little things. Each player's name. Did they win American Rivers Conference Player of the Week? What does their statistics look like nationally? Wartburg Volleyballs currently has the #1 leader in triple doubles, which means they have double digits in kills, assists, and digs. So just a lot of those little statistics that can go a lot of way. Their kill percentage, their dig percentage, the assists they had. Co had one of the leaders in assists in the entire nation. So just putting those little statistics down, even backgrounds on coaches as well. It's like Wartburg's got a coaching staff, getting their statistics. Where were they at before Wartburg? What's their past been like in that kind of stuff? And I'd usually a lot of the commentary for a color commentary for. So I'm the one that's always looking at the live statistics that's going on in the game and kind of following the play-by-play once they have finished, honestly, the play. And it's just kind of and it's kind of just repetitive back and forth. It's just if the play-by-play says, and a great kill, color commentary will go blank and blank player. This is their 9th kill of the game. Their kill percentage coming into this game. And it's just kind of those filler facts that you can come in with after. It's awesome.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I'm going to hold you to this. I want you to rank these 3 sports calls. 3 of, I think, the best sports calls of all time. They're from 3 different sports. They kind of have 3 different feelings when you think about the call. All right. So here's the 3 calls. Howard Cosell, the down goes Frazier, probably the greatest boxing call of all time, or at least the most iconic. That's one of them. We have Vern Lundquist calling Tigers chip in. You know what I'm talking about there?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, good. That's the second one. And then the third one will be the Auburn call of the Iron Bowl kick 6.
The Iron Bowl. Oh my gosh, dude.
Should have done Fuck, Marry, Kill with it. That's what we should have done.
Yeah. How are you ranking those? Howard Cosell, Vern Lundquist, and whoever the Auburn guy was.
Man, you got me good on this one. For me, honestly, I don't know. I think I'm putting Frazier at 1. I don't know. There's something about that call, and it's just the way they portrayed that call. I know you probably don't like my answer. It's really close, and it's probably going to go Frazier, then Tiger, then the Iron Bowl call. Honestly,
I agree.
Jamie, end the call.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
think
end
that's
that.
I think that's the correct answer.
Oh my God!
Marv,
Are you
listen to
kidding me?
Listen,
gonna
to me.
explain
The
it.
Iron Bowl call is amazing. It was a one momentum kind of thing, but Frazier shocked the world when he knocked it out.
Yep.
And the call that makes that one so special is because of the history behind it as well. Man, when was that knockout in the was it 70s or was it 60s or 70s?
I think it would have been the 70s.
The 70s, the history of broadcast in the 70s is when stuff really started to get rolling. And, it's kind of just getting into that kind of the early parts of radio as well, into the sports broadcasting, that starting in the late 60s, then moving into the 70s. So the history behind the call, that's why I'm putting that one at number one. Tiger's call is a classic. The classic, the fist in the air, Tiger response. That call is insane. But, the Iron Bowl is it's a fantastic call. But like there's a lot of moments in college football where there have been moments like that have happened before. So
it wasn't the call as much in the Iron Bowl as just the whole. It's a kick six.
The whole atmosphere.
Auburn,
Yes.
Alabama.
They
I
put
think
a
it was
second
1 versus
back
4.
on.
Yeah, it was just the whole thing was just crazy. I don't think it was the call as much. Where with like down goes Frazier, like that, like the world heard that and the world knew it. Like that was different. And then the Tiger Vern Lundquist call, that embodied Tiger's entire career. Like that is when you think of Tiger Woods, like clutch moments. That is the call you think of. You hear the call.
I think this is a little bit of a situation where you maybe are like in the middle, and Landon is a professional wine taster, and I like wine, so I'll go in, take a sip, and it's like, oh, this is good. You have another one? I'll take a sip of that one. That's good too. I can't really rank them; they're pretty good. Landon's got like this one's got a little bit of a woody.
He knows what he's talking
about.
Is that
cherry I'm getting in there? And I'm like, these are good, but nothing for me. I mean, just thinking or even saying the words kick six gives me goosebumps. So, I mean, I could see down goes Frazier maybe getting one by a tick, barely a tick over the kick six, but putting kick six at 3 to me is a little bit outrageous. I don't know. That's
kind of, and that's honestly, I agree. But like the one that even comes to mind with me is the one we've actually looked at these in class before. But last year I did a project in my sports media society class on big moments, and one of the moments that I had was Bob Costas and Michael Jordan in Game 6 of the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that was another huge one as well. I actually pulled up my presentation, and Bob Costas, when he said, that may have been, who knows what will unfold in the next several months, but that may have been the last shot Michael Jordan will ever take in the NBA. And boom, it's that world shock moment where it's like, is Michael coming back next year? What's going to happen? And with that streak that he had with the Bulls, it's those question mark calls that are always the huge ones for me that I look up to and kind of analyze. Like I said, that's why I put Frazier at 1. It shocked the world. That knockout, no one knew. No one had any idea that he was going to have that knockout. It's just like those little small moments that are key in history that really make the event so special to this day.
Like when the call adds on to the event itself. I feel like with the Iron Bowl, it didn't matter as much what that call was. That moment was going to be that moment. Where I feel like with the Vern Lundquist, Tiger chip in, and Howard Cosell and Frazier, it was just like it magnified the whole thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like Cosell, he's down goes Frazier. It's those crazy, and like, who knew George Foreman was going to win that match? Like, no one had faith in Foreman. And going into that match, it's like that George Foreman movie that was on Netflix for a while. It's like, it's nothing like the call, but that call just sticks with you. And like, because Paul Frazier was the world heavyweight champion of the world. Like, it's those little moments that made it. And like, Foreman shocked the world. And just like you said, Nick, like that Iron Bowl, the atmosphere, the 1 to 2 seconds that were added on the clock, and then they missed the field goal and Auburn returns it. Like that's a moment in history. But I don't know. There's just something about the call of Frazier that makes it so special.
So that's one thing that I think I've as we're recalling these, right? The story of those guys that adds a lot to the call. I will give you guys that. But the actual literal play-by-play of the kick six to me is brilliant. does not have the leg. Chris Davis in the back of the end zone takes
Yeah.
it out to the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's a radio call to me. He's exactly saying what happens on the field. And I will transfer this into a question. Because people will talk about Tom Brady and how, and you like Tom Brady's calls. The internet is not necessarily on the exact same page. People will say, well, he wasn't born to be an announcer. Like, he is born to be a football player. He looks at the field in a completely different way. He's just not really able to articulate his thoughts, maybe. What differentiates those best calls from the worst calls, maybe announcers in general, or just, I mean, obviously you appreciate the history of a call more than just the actual play-by-play, but I guess I'm more centered on an announcer in general. If I were to go out and announce a game, I would definitely not be as good as Fowler or Herbstreit. Like, that's just a fact. What would separate the two?
The thing about that makes it so special is that's why it's so essential for these. What I look at for those is there's a huge difference between radio and actual live television.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon me. It's just there's so much that goes behind it. And like for the awards that we're working on right now is that we have the television side of things and we have the radio side of things, and you can submit both. And that's why some of those calls are so efficient. And like the one that I can always think of is, for me, it's like Gary Dolphin for the Iowa Hawkeyes, whether it be basketball or football. And you've got a guy who's been working since the mid 1990s with his craft. And then you get a new guy like Pat Anger, who's a Iowa football All-American, All Big Ten defensive player. And it's just like, it adds to the part of it. And that's why, radio is that kind of thing. You need the legendary play-by-play announcer, and then you have the color with Pat Anger that makes it, a former NFL player who knows the game so well. And that's what I think a lot of TV needs, is like Tom Brady, multi-winning Super Bowl quarterback. He needs to be that color commentary because he knows the game so well. You saw it with Nick 7 times. Patrick Mahomes is coming up. He'll be in the booth someday, but
yeah,
no,
he probably
does not have the voice.
No, he probably won't. No, he probably won't. No, he probably
doing
won't.
I'm not listening to that.
It would be a
not.
little bit rough listen for quite a
I
few
would like
people.
to see Patrick Mahomes, Chris Collinsworth call. That'd be great.
Oh,
That'd
Jesus.
That'd be awesome.
No. I think we're out on that one.
I can't stand.
What would you say is more
No,
important? Hey, what would you say is more important, play-by-play or color? Because we talked about both. I think they both add, it's like apple and orange, right? Like, they're not the same. But if you had to pick one, and let's say
play-by-play, right?
Let's say TV, because the play-by-play isn't it? Like, nobody listens to the radio anymore, not like they used to.
It's fair.
You writing an essay over there?
No, I'm just thinking. It's so hard. I would honestly go with play-by-play. No, I'm looking at my NBA fantasy team right now, and it's just.
Oh, we're not.
But
playing fantasy.
it's.
Oh, I get it. It's cool.
It's crazy. It's nuts. But I would go play-by-play. Play-by-play kind of just shrines the moment so much more. Color is important with a lot of the facts that are given and a lot of the background on players and coaches that make them special to the game, whether it be basketball or football or whatever. But play-by-play gives the moments in history that matter the most.
I think play-by-play is more difficult because it's like off the cuff more, but color adds more to the game, in my opinion.
Well, what do you think of this, Landon? You would have a better opinion on this. I've always kind of thought, like, the traditional thinking is that the play-by-play announcer is going to set up the color commentator to be able to, add some insight or whatever. I would almost argue that when you're talking about these big calls, right, like the iconic calls, the color commentator needs to do a good job of like, okay, here's kind of the storylines we're going with. Here's stats that add to this player that we think are going to be, big important pieces down the road later on in this game. I would argue almost that the color commentator, his job is to kind of set up these iconic calls for the play-by-play announcer. What do you think of that?
You hit that right on the bullseye, Redden.
I do that a lot.
For like no, but that's the big example for like baseball. For me,
yep.
I watch Valley Sports Kansas City. That is one that I've always watched. The Royals TV network, I thought has always done a very good job doing the games. And just like you said, they set up the situation. And like the big thing for baseball games is the pregame shows. Valley Sports Network usually starts 30 to 45 minutes pregame of the MLB game that starts, and just kind of the scenery that they go on. And then like once it gets special, that's like the super cool thing about like playoff baseball. Once the World Series gets to, say, game 3 of the Dodgers and the Yankees, they can give history, they can give different statistics that we've never heard of. And like you said, the color commentary is the most influential part of mostly the pregame, because they're giving the information that leads the play-by-play to be so efficient throughout the game. And like those little statistics can go a long way that people don't even know about. And it's the little things in baseball that go a long way to make the broadcast very successful.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you touch on like pregame, and you touch on like obviously the intricacies of a call throughout the course of a game. A lot of people don't watch the pregame. A lot of people don't watch the postgame. And I know there are people like Shannon Sharp who watch it with the TV off, or the broadcast off. They mute the TV.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that type of thing? Because I'll tune into the pregame if I have time. I always watch the postgame, and I can't watch it without the sound. Like I literally cannot. I've tried. I tried doing it because Shannon talked about it. I hate it. Even when it's Tony Romo or Chris Collinsworth, the two of the guys that I hate the most, I have to have it on. What is your opinion on those guys who they don't take in all of the whole sport?
For me, it's big. But one thing that I can't stand in college football is the one-on-one commentary at halftime with coaches. I know coaches are wanting to get back to the locker room, but my God, you can ask better questions. It's insane. How do you feel about the first half, coach? Your best player goes down. You can have 1 to 2 questions you're thinking all half about. Like you're going to get on TV sometimes, but those little situations about one-on-one, and like it's so important. But that's
what would you ask? Like if you let's say like last night, Bucks go up 10-0, then the Ravens come storming back, and you're the sideline reporter. They cut down. Hey, we got Landon Jepson out there on the field with head coach Todd Bowles. What do you got for us, Landon?
Hey, coach. It's been really tough first half. How are you going to bounce back with Baker? Baker going down, losing Chris Godwin in the late second half. I'll act like this is a post game. Hey, Coach Bowles, tough second half there. You losing Chris Godwin. K-Dot stepping up really big in the second half. 10 receptions, 91 yards. Baker still performing very well. Still after this game, leading the NFL in touchdowns. Coach, moving on to the next week, how are you going to influence and really attack the other receivers and make your other players known? So like those little things that can maybe take you into the next week. Like it's key. So like for us at Wartburg, we have to, for like injuries on the field, we have to move our cameras away for it's called a FERPA violation. It's basically something that we don't do, and we don't talk about injuries on our broadcast. I wish it was something maybe we change, because that's an influential part of the game. But it's those little little things that matter. But it's like the post game is super more. I think people pay attention way more to the post game than the pregame. Pregame kind of sets the mood, sets the kind of feel of what we're going to expect in the games. Kind of gives the scenery of the fans pregame, and like camera quality is huge as well for the pregame as well. And then the little things for postgame, it's the lighting that you have behind the coach. And, it's the postgame, and, with like Kirk Ferentz in those postgame interviews, some coaches just don't say much, and some players don't say much as well. It's those little questions that you're trying to get the attention of the players as well. If you ask a basic question, they're not going to answer. And you've got to come up with the most interesting and unique questions to address the player about, this injury is going to happen. How are you going to reflect and move on? You're going to have to look for different receivers throughout. And it's just the information is so important. And, with being a journalist, you got to be spot on right away. The questions in your mind have to be spitfire. You've got to have 4 to 5 questions ready, and you got to be ready to go at all times, because your voice matters. And when you're saying something, it can be your future. And if someone hears you say a quality question, that could change your life forever. So you just got to be ready and on the spot at all times.
Oh yeah, definitely. And all the guys are very media trained as well, so they definitely have their.
It's difficult to get them off coach speak.
Yeah, it is.
They're media trained now, so
very media trained.
But I got one last thing for you, Landon, then we'll let you go. Thank you so much for doing this. I just wanted to bring up one other little thing that people may or may not know that you do or have done. When you were back in high school, you performed in a band. You actually did a little rendition, a little cover of Stacy's Mom. Walk us through that. Talk about that a little bit.
Holy smokes. Taking it back with Tar, totally awesome and rad. Nick on the drums. It was a really fun time. We were hopefully getting a reunion, but it's hard with Hunter being down at TCU, but he's finally graduated. So, but hopefully the band can get back together soon. But it was an event. Cola's the mom. It was on Terra Drive in Little Berg. We used the Marvettes mobile. The old car that was super awesome for the start of the team. That was a memory that will never leave. The
production of that was incredible.
It was, we had all the cameos behind all the videos, like the Donald Trump one, like the lion attacking the zebra in the safari. It's just all those little things. It was, I can't even, all the recording sessions we did at, started off with Will Shrimpy as a singer, and then they asked me to join because Will
needed someone who can actually sing.
Yeah, no, hey, I saw you sang the national anthem for a game and then announced it. Is that true? Yeah,
so I did.
Wow.
So I did PA for softball and baseball for a few of the home games when Mr. Shapansky or the softball announcer could not do it, and I did that. And then Jack Ludo from KCRG was like, "Hey, your story is really cool," and then they ended up making a special story on it with Wartburg College, Williamsburg grad Landon Jepson doing play-by-play for softball, and then doing the national anthem. So yeah, I've always done the national anthem. I started at, I think, the end of my sophomore year, but junior and senior I just always sang it. And people, whenever I come in back, they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna announce." And they're like, "Are you gonna sing the anthem?" It's just kind of like when I'm there, I just kind of sing it, and it's people. I think people prefer it over the audio, but it's fun. It's a different opportunity, but that one actually got a lot of views. It was really cool. A lot of people at Wartburg saw it as well over the summer. It was just a really cool opportunity. But it's still singing in the choir up here. But like our tour this year, we're going to California, Oregon, and Washington. So hopefully catch some NBA games over in Cali. But it's singing's always been lately, so it's just been really busy. But it's awesome, an opportunity.
We love a well-rounded announcer. Some guy who can really can do it all. Well, thank you so much for your time, Landon. We really appreciate you stopping by and educating everyone. I hope more kids, look into that sports announcing path, because obviously that's kind of what we're trying to do in a sense with the show here, and it's really gratifying. Like really just putting out your content and having a little bit of a creative outlet, even if it isn't a full-time job. It's definitely something that more kids should look into, and Landon, you're a gleaming example of that through and through. Thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Landon Jepson. All right, shout out to Landon for coming on. Landon had a lot of actually super in-depth just thoughts on commentators in general. I thought he knew a lot more than I was expecting him to, and he kind of made me and Red look like a couple losers, to be honest. He really...
Yeah, you guys looked like
that doesn't take much.
Yo,
you really dove into that one.
I was a big fan of that ginger, man. He knows how to speak, and he has a great speaking voice, great baritone. We know all about that, Marv. Shout out to Landon.
Yeah, shout out Landon, and shout out his Shapansky what's it called? Impersonation. Yeah, that was sick. Obviously, you two didn't see that. That was a little bit more off camera than anything else. But his announcer voice is bar none. And just to jump right into it, Mr. Hunter and Chase are joining us to break down everything college football, NFL, and of course our Zero to Hero. Don't miss the trivia time this week. That is going to be a lot of fun. Let's just jump right on into it with Talkin 25. Boys, great weekend of college football, obviously. What was your favorite game this weekend, Red?
Yeah, there was two games that really stick out to me when I look back at this week, and that's Tennessee beating Alabama and then Georgia beating Texas.
Yes.
It's interesting. Obviously, we'll get more in depth on the whole Texas scenario, everything that went down there. But purely from a game perspective, I think we saw what the country, I guess, was kind of split. Some people were like, oh, Texas is the big bad wolf. They're so good this year. They have all this talent. But then the other half of the country was like, okay, this is still Kirby Smart in Georgia. I personally, not to pat myself on the back, said Georgia was probably going to win this game big and controllingly. They did that. Point me.
Boom.
Per usual. But yeah, Georgia looked solid. They looked like exactly like we thought they would, and Texas is still fine, but
I mean,
no.
Yeah, it's Texas.
No.
There's definitely, they're not as shiny as they once were.
Well, I'll say this.
talking.
So Alex Redden 1, Matthew McConaughey 0. Another zero this week is Hunter's. I don't know if it was his Texas blood that seemed to think that Texas was going to win. He came on before the show saying, whoever said Texas is going to dominate this weekend. We're all like, no, nobody actually said that. We were going to stay away from this game. Hunter, why in the world would you think Texas was going to dominate that game?
I don't want to hear any of this bullshit thinking that I would ever cheer for the Longhorns or ever pick them to win a single football game. Okay? I will always bet the house on the underdog, and that's exactly what I did against Georgia. Why would Georgia lose to any other team other than Alabama in the coming near future? Texas had no shot even though they were at home. They even tried to put Arch Manning in at the second half, and look at that. It looked like a bunch of 3-year-olds playing against the dogs is what I saw. And now Texas is ranked number 5, and they should be even lower, and Alabama should be ranked higher than Texas. It's ridiculous.
The rankings this week are certainly something that we'll have to touch on a little bit. But, Chase, before we do, I want to get your thoughts on that game because it was kind of one of the biggest games this weekend, or did you think the Tennessee game was just slightly bigger?
I'd say the Texas-Georgia game was bigger. Georgia looked really good. I thought Texas was probably one of the better teams in the nation, but as you saw, not the case.
Yeah, not the case at all. Fucking terrible take, Chase.
But that's besides the point. I think college football is really interesting this year because there's not really a huge margin between these top teams anymore. Anyone can beat anyone, and I think that's going to make the college football playoff that much more interesting. Mm-hmm. And it's awesome seeing that when we're going into the 12-team playoff.
Well,
definitely.
I would disagree just saying that Iowa State I think is by far and away the best team in the nation, but I mean that's just a little bit of bias. Obviously, I'm wearing my blackout gear after that big win over UCF. Iowa State 7-0 going into the bye week thing. I mean, I'm thankful that we're going into a bye week so we can't mess it up this week. Obviously, we have Texas Tech at home for homecoming next week, and we'll see how things go. But I'm going to relish it while I can. Number 10 in the AP poll.
Yeah, I would relish it. I would relish it all I could because, they only lost to UCF because the guy dropped the ball. But, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in the Big 12. And I think Iowa State's ranked terribly. I wouldn't even put them top 10 in the country, maybe not even top 10 in the Big 12. And that's just the way I'm looking at it. And BYU ranked underneath them, that makes absolutely no sense to me. I hope you guys get at least number 13, at the end of the season, but we'll see how it goes from here.
That's a hot take. We may be having a Big 12 pro come on and break down all of the Big 12. So I'm sure he's going to make Hunter eat his words, but that's nothing new, to be honest. I did kind of want to touch on Michigan losing to Illinois. That's interesting to me, obviously, just because Michigan, reigning champions. Chase, Big 10 expert there. What did you make of Michigan? Is this season potentially just over? Are they ready to throw in the towel, maybe try to make a bowl game, whatever, and look forward to next year? Or do you think that I don't even know. What do you do? Fix your image for the rest of the year? What are they trying to do?
I think they're in trouble. I mean, they're not as good, obviously, as last year, and not even close, remotely close. I had money on Illinois just because that Illinois team isn't bad, and I think Michigan is bad. They have a run game, but that's about it. Can't throw the ball. Defense is not near the standard they were last year. Michigan's just not the team they would expect Michigan to be. It is probably time to just realize they're going to make a bowl game, and that's about it. I don't see them making the playoff, obviously. I don't know how many losses they have, probably 2, 3 now.
I think it's 15 or 10, I don't know, something like that.
Well, we haven't played that many games yet. That's not possible. But no.
Before we go any further, Chase, that stash is glorious. I just need to throw that out there. For the listeners out there listening on Spotify, we do have a YouTube channel, easy to find. You can see Chase's mustache. Get in the YouTube today. Make sure to like and subscribe to support Chase's facial hair growth.
Yeah, I would say he looks more like a French homeless guy who's...
Oh my God!
What is going on?
Whoa! Why?
Sorry,
why are we swinging the hot bat? Jesus! I mean, we haven't even gotten into Nebraska yet, and that's coming right up next. I mean, we got to chill. We're crying. I mean, look at him. He looks handsome.
I think he looks good.
Yeah.
It does look good. Yeah,
it is. It's a lot more full than it was last week. So shout out to Chase for that. I just wanted to throw that out there. I did not expect to pitch a softball to Hunter. That is totally my bad. Hunter, before we dive into Nebraska, just hold your horses. Red, what do you make of that Michigan loss?
Michigan losing to Illinois?
Yes.
I think it was kind of expected. Michigan and Illinois, now that Michigan's lost Harbaugh, McCarthy, and a ton of just talent from last year that got drafted, they're not quite the team they were last year. I think everyone knew that. Illinois has been trending upwards last season. They've been doing the same thing this season. So I wasn't too shocked by it. Michigan isn't very good. They don't have any offense whatsoever. The only reason they're even ranked is they just have the residue of being national champions last year.
Of course. And then I'll just go straight back to you. What did you think of Nebraska this weekend? We touched on it last week. There was some stuff that came out before the game. I was actually kind of like, hey, as I was leaving the apartment and you had the game on, I was like, I kind of like Nebraska here. And then you go, no, we're going to get absolutely obliterated. That's what happened. As a Nebraska fan, first, what do you make of that game?
Well, I'd say first off, as an unbiased sports observer, I did call Nebraska losing that game, so another point for me. As a Nebraska fan, it was brutal to watch, but it was kind of a measuring stick game. You know, Indiana, they're just in a different place than we are right now as a program, and that's tough to see, tough to say, but that's just the reality of it. You know, I still have faith in Matt Rule. I still think he's the guy, but I do think that probably half the staff needs to be fired.
Oh.
Definitely the OC,
Damn.
definitely the special teams coordinator. DC should probably get a raise. And I've heard some
After
rumors
giving
of
up 50 points?
he's a good defensive coordinator.
Okay.
He's probably going to get a head coaching job if we're not careful, and that's scary because then we're out our defensive coordinator too. So overall, not worried about Matt Rule. Nebraska, you know, they're still on track to do what I hope they would do this year, which is make a bowl game.
Yeah.
They should be able to get there. Maybe they even get to 7-5, but I don't know.
So, you know,
The excitement is gone.
Yeah, for sure. The lust of the season is definitely weaning. But as far as Matt Rule goes, we touched on this a little bit just in conversation. His jump from year one to year two, I feel like is very it's worth mentioning. It's very noticeable. What do you think has been the biggest thing he's done? Is it Raiola just simply being on the team, or do you think it is actually what Matt Rule is doing for this Nebraska team?
I mean, having Raiola definitely helps. You know, having a quarterback who's like actually semi-competent helps compared to what we've had over the last few years. But this is what Rule does. He builds programs like over a 3-year span. He's made the jump, I'd say, from last year. This team looks different. But he had to do a complete culture overhaul when he came to Nebraska. Scott Frost should probably be thrown in jail for what he did to Nebraska. Like, he should be arrested.
Yeah.
That's some type of emotional distress on the entire state. So he should be imprisoned. But Rule just had a huge task changing that culture, getting in just his guys, and we're still seeing that. And they are winning some games along the path to that. So there's still stuff to be optimistic about, but the luster of the season's gone.
I agree 100%. And I have one last question for you on this Nebraska thing before I move on to the games coming up this weekend. It's a hypothetical, so just kind of do with this what you will. Let's say, you know, Rule turns the program around 3-4 years into his tenure. They're maybe making a look into that Big 12 or the top 12 team playoff bracket situation there, and then he finds another position. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I honestly wonder if he'll do the rest of his coaching career at Nebraska if he is successful. But if he is to leave, do you think the culture will stay?
Oh,
I can tell you right now, there's no way any coach would get, a ranked team like Nebraska and then want to stay in the state of Nebraska. That just won't happen. That's just like bar none, he's going somewhere else. He's probably going to upgrade to like a little, maybe Big 12, ACC, something like that. But he will not stay as the head coach of Nebraska.
I could see him sticking around, couldn't you?
The thing is, Hunter's trying to get under my skin, but what he doesn't realize is he's saying the exact same things that I've been saying. So thank you for agreeing with me, Hunter.
You got to think about those 80-year-olds that have been rooting for the Huskers, for the past 60 years, and nothing's ever happened.
You're a TCU fan.
Yeah, this is a rough situation for TCU.
Yeah, I know, and we've had a lot more wins than you guys have in the past 20 years. So, they've had great watching football in their retirement.
I would say Nebraska's had a rough go of it recently, but their history is definitely stronger than that of TCU's, and I think we'll leave that there just before things get way too out of hand. Speaking of history, a team that doesn't necessarily have a lot of deep history outside of just having the sickest uniforms of all time, Oregon brings in Illinois this weekend. Speaking of the Michigan game there, I like this game quite a bit. I think this one might be a little bit closer than we've maybe presumed previously, but do you think Illinois can get this win here, Hunter?
I think there's no shot that Illinois gets this win. They haven't beat a single good team. I think Nebraska was the biggest one that gave them a challenge, and that tells you everything that they need to know. And their only loss was to number 3 Penn State. So I think there's no reason that Oregon doesn't clobber them on Saturday.
Okay, and Chase, I'm curious what you think of this game because I personally wonder if Illinois can kind of stop Oregon's steamroll of an offense there and just play a tight game, classic Big Ten style, and maybe sneak out like a 3 or 4 point win here. What do you think?
Personally, I don't think so. I think Oregon has a little more firepower than Illinois. Just offensively, better team. That's all I got to say on it.
God damn, Chase.
Steamrolls them.
Calm down. Don't bring the fucking energy. Jesus.
Yeah, don't be
There's not
afraid
much to get excited about that. Oregon should piss pound them.
Yeah, you're
What
about
does
to blow
what does
the roof
Illinois
off
have
your
to do to
opponent.
what does Illinois have to do to win that game, Chase? What do they need to do to stop Oregon from winning another game?
Keep it close and ugly.
Yeah, I was going to
Okay.
say get the
That's-
Chiefs refs in there, maybe, and pay them
Jesus.
off.
Yeah, I mean
That's
don't
pretty
even,
much all you could do.
don't get me started on them. Sticking in the Big
Try to
12, I'll come
bomb
to you,
everybody
Red.
in Eugene.
Oh my God! Sticking to you, Red here. Washington, Indiana. This could be a bit of a measuring stick game for Indiana. Obviously undefeated up to this point. Played well, especially last week. I thought that was a bit of a measuring stick game for them as well. Do you think they'll pull out the win against Washington, who has to travel, quite a ways across the country?
Yeah, no, I think Indiana beats them by probably 5 scores.
I don't think Washington's that good of a game, but there
They're
are
not.
quite a few people out there who seem to think Washington is like a really big measuring stick for this Indiana team. I think more than anything, it's just about the longevity. Can Indiana keep up this pace and
Yep.
stay at this high level of play? They are at home, obviously, and Washington traveling it will play a small factor in that.
Yeah.
Local time, when you do that whole thing, that might play into it, but I don't know if that matters as much as this game. I am actually pretty excited for. Notre Dame goes to Navy. That one will be quite a fun game. We've got Notre Dame. I think they're at like 12 or something like that.
Yep.
And then what is Navy, like 24? Air Force, Navy, both ranked. This has been a
24.
fun season. For
Not
the
Air Force. Army and Navy.
Army, Navy. Excuse
Army's
me.
at 23, Navy's at 24.
Knew it was an A in there somewhere. What do you make of this one? This one I think will be fun. Obviously, the Service Academies being good is good for football, in my opinion, and I love to see Notre Dame lose. But do you think that can happen? Is that a realistic possibility here?
Yeah, I want nothing more than Notre Dame to just get steamrolled this game, but I don't think it will happen.
Damn.
I think Navy is going to finally kind of run up against like a real opponent, I guess, and a team that is very just on a talent level. There's just more 5 stars on that team. And you kind of, when you see these teams face off against each other, sometimes it's like you just look at the O-line and the D-line and you're like, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's.
And
gonna
I
be
think
the
Navy's
dogs.
going to have that issue, but with their offense, the way they run it, if any team can muck up a game and get it to just be close and ugly, it's going to be Navy and Army.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're very good at that. So hopefully they pull off the upset. That'd be awesome, but I doubt it.
I 100% agree. I think that it could be a lot of fun to watch. I will see what happens. Moving into the SEC here, I got 2 games left that we'll round out Talkin 25 with. Missouri at Alabama. Chase, I'll go to you here. Have you looked into this game at all? Do you think Missouri can hang with the SEC big dogs, or do they solely have a ranking and a positive reputation due to their win of the bowl game last year? Or is Bama going down?
Bama can't go down. They can't lose this game.
No, absolutely not.
It's at Alabama. If they want any chance to make the college football playoff, it has to be a win. I don't think Missouri can pull it off just due to talent level. I think Bama just has more guys at this point, a little more experience in the big game. Missouri, they look good. I just don't think they're good enough.
I kind of think they're riding on the coattails of last season, kind of like what we talked about with Michigan. But, I mean, that's just me. I don't watch enough SEC, that's for sure. But we do have a guy who could potentially be going to an SEC game this weekend. Okay? Of note, the game in particular I am speaking on is LSU and A&M. Hunter, what are we looking at this game?
Eggs.
You might be there. What are you looking forward to most about this game?
The only thing I don't know any of these players' names, to be honest with you, Marv. But the thing I'm looking forward to the most is to hear Power played in Kyle Field. just hear the electricity in the air, that little spark that goes on with SEC football. I've never experienced it before. I'm just so jazzed, and I really hope this whole plan goes through. But I probably will be wearing purple, honestly, and a yellow hat, just so I just love being the away fan. But hey, I'll still be rooting for the Aggies. I'm going on an Aggie ticket, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Wearing purple and gold in an Aggie ticket situation could be a bold move for sure. As far as
nobody cheers for other teams better than TCU fans.
Nobody cheers for other teams better than Hunter, really, to be honest.
Exactly. I'm coming down in 3 weeks for Cincinnati, Iowa State, excuse me.
Yes.
And I will be the biggest Cincinnati fan in that entire stadium. No, I've never been to the city.
We don't claim that necessarily, but as far as an actual breakdown on that game, what should we be looking at in the LSU A&M game here, Red?
Yeah, it's really, for both these teams, it's kind of a loser leaves town situation in regards to the college football playoff. Both these teams need to win. What's scary about this is Brian Kelly is just not a winner. He's just not a winner, and that's scary. But Mike Elko down at A&M, I'm not sure he really is either. I think it's kind of that tier 2 of the college football playoff picture. It's kind of a mid-off between these two teams, in my opinion. One of them's the winner of this game probably gets in if they take care of business the rest of the way out.
Right.
But I'm not too worried about either of these teams going deep in the playoff.
Yeah, me neither. But SEC football is certainly an interesting atmosphere. What's your opinion on that, Hunter?
I was just going to say, I think LSU is fine if they lose this game and they still went out. I think they'll still, be ranked enough to get into the college football playoffs. But I think if Texas A&M wins it, they still have to play Texas at the end of the year. So, it still could get dicey. But that also is in Kyle Field, and Texas does suck, and they might lose this weekend against Vanderbilt.
I saw that. Vanderbilt, I was a little nervous they're going to lose their top 25 ranking just like that. That's a scary team to play.
It could be one and done, but I said 11 years. That's the first time in 11 years where they've been ranked, and it's number 25. I think that, the committee just put them right in there just so they could have that, bump up their boosters and everything else, and then boom. Pull them out. Play the Longhorns.
No, and I do want you to look for this, Hunter, this weekend. If you end up going, look at Nussmeier throw this ball. I want to report on this in person because over the TV he looks like an absolute surgeon. I mean, it's fun to watch over the TV. LSU quarterback just throws darts. I mean, he obviously misses every now and then, but it is few and far between. That's going to wrap up Talkin' 25. It is now time for TTTTTTLTH. Trivia time with Texas treasure and table tennis legend Tenacious Hunter. Hunter, what do you have for us this week?
I got 3 questions. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
One of them is
interesting.
Team specific. Okay.
All right, roll into it.
So this is, I think it's you have a 1 in 32 chance here, unless you really know a lot about history. But it's one team. Okay. The only team that has won an NFL or a Super Bowl, in 4 different decades. The only team.
Green Bay Packers.
No.
Really? I thought you were just taking it right away. You got to think of teams that have more than 4 or more Super Bowls, right? Like you can't have 3 and win in 4 different decades.
Steelers.
No. And if you want a hint, I can give you that too.
I would say the 49ers.
No. The 4 decades are consecutive.
Who is it? I don't even know.
They
don't
probably have they had to have won in the 2000s, and they didn't win the 2010s. So now we're narrowing it down.
Is it
one team that won?
Is it the
2000s.
Cowboys?
That's what
No.
I was gonna think.
Cowboys have not won in the 2000s.
Mm-mm.
Who else has got 4 wins or more? Obviously the Patriots, but they weren't good in the 90s. They won basically all of them after 2000. I'm trying to think of potentially other teams. Chase, what do you think here? This is kind of a dicey one.
Broncos?
It's a tough one.
Not the Broncos.
No, they probably.
That's a good guess though, because I mean they did only win 1. And never mind. Okay, no,
Giants.
Right.
That's probably the last.
Giants. It is the New York Giants.
That's like the
Giants
last
have
one.
won
I think we worked
4
around the bush.
consecutive seasons, or 4 consecutive. Yeah, that's
That's
awesome,
pretty good.
though, right? I never knew that. And I
Interesting.
was
How do
trying
you
to figure out. I was trying to figure out teams that have won in 3 consecutive decades, and my mind could just not do it today. So I could. You got that one, and that's it. All right.
Okay.
All right. So the second one. There is one NFL team with a transgender cheerleader. What is that NFL team? Yes.
This is literally guessing.
1 in 32 chance again. And I'll give you a hint if you need it, but
Seattle.
not Seattle.
The Giants.
Not the Giants.
No. It's got to be like a new franchise, I feel like.
Well,
And
who's your guess?
okay, it's not a new franchise. I don't think.
Interesting.
Cincinnati.
This team. No, this team has been to a Super Bowl in the past 20 years.
Okay, so like over.
So that's only 40 teams, possibly.
All right. Okay. There.
Brady was like half of them.
Yeah.
So Patriots.
They only went once.
Panthers.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I guess.
The Carolina Panthers.
Like
That's
the newest franchise.
Bang. No.
Yeah.
One
No,
of
it's
them.
not.
One of
Texans
them.
No,
is
the
the
newest-
newest. I think
Jags
Yeah,
are in
Texans
there.
is the newest.
Titans. Those are the 4.
Okay, what's your third one here, Hunter?
I got it on my note sheet. Give me 2 seconds.
All
right.
1001.
So, which NFL teams do not have an official mascot? So, if you go into the stadium on game day, you will not see a mascot in uniform.
How many are there? Like 2?
No, there's a
There
ton.
is 4.
I say they're not. There's not. Yeah. Okay.
Not
interesting.
Cowboys, Cincy, Dolphins,
Dolphins have one, I think.
Jets.
You got Jets. That was about it. But the Cowboys have definitely have a uniform.
The Packers.
They have the
have
Salvation
one.
Army bucket.
The Bengals is a tiger.
Do
Have
they
you
have a
ever
life
seen the
tiger there?
Cowboy? I think his name's Howdy.
Do the Seahawks have
Right.
a mascot?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a Seahawk.
they
Marv.
do.
Well, that's a bird, so it's pretty hard to dress up as a bird, dude.
Vegas Raiders.
Packers.
The Raiders have a mascot.
Bears.
The Packers probably don't.
The Bears have a mascot. The Packers, yes. Thank you, Marv. That was another.
No, that
one.
was Chase. Shout out Chase.
Oh, sorry,
I
Chase.
stole that.
I'm sorry, Chase. I didn't hear
It's
that.
whatever,
I didn't hear
dude.
that.
It's
Lions.
fine. I understand.
All right, you guys got 2 more. The Lions have a
Lions.
mascot. Okay, one of these is just like it's pretty much impossible to have a fucking mascot of this team.
Yeah, I would
49ers.
say- No,
Not
that's
the
a person.
49ers, but that's a really good
fairly
guess. Sorry,
easy.
Chase.
Yeah, that one would be a pretty easy mascot.
Like
I'm
a
not
minor.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
You got to think about teams that are maybe a little bit more abstract. Then what about a Titan?
No, that's a good guess, but no.
Interesting. What about maybe something else a little bit even more abstract? What do you think here, Chase?
Commanders.
They're new.
No, the Commanders have a pig.
Oh, I
Apparently.
knew that.
That's
Yeah,
good.
no, I thought that
Mm.
too. They didn't have one, but they just like got enacted the past year or so.
I was thinking Patriots, but I figured
Oh, I
Marv
got
would
it.
have said that
Steelers.
by now.
Not
That's
the
a good
Steelers, not
What?
the Patriots.
Patriots, I
Yeah.
know they do have one.
The
Who does that
Steelers
even
is a
mean?
sick name. It's like Mr. Steel Brim or something.
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
What about the Chargers?
Mr. Bolt. They have
The
Bolt.
Chargers. There you go. There you go.
No,
That's one
no,
of
no. Okay, so this is wrong. The Chargers have a mascot. Look up Boltman.
I'll put it in the video for you guys watching on YouTube. For those of you listening, that I don't know if he's still a guy. That is a real
They
mascot I'm looking
definitely
at.
have a mascot.
That guy's awesome. If he is still around, I don't know. It looks like it came out of 1985.
Just please Google real quick. Do the Chargers have an official mascot?
I'm sure they don't, and we still have one more to go.
You do have one more.
We have one left, and I don't know that there are even any other teams left we've guessed.
Buccaneers.
You
Pirates.
could
I was hoping they had a mascot because there needs to
could
be a
qualify it. You could qualify it as a human.
What? Interesting. That's a hot take. What?
It's like a mutant human.
Well, I said Giants, and we know it's not them. Who else could be a human, Chase?
Browns?
Brownie the Elf?
Not the Browns. The Browns have the dog.
Oh,
We
Texans?
already said the Commanders.
Not the Commanders. The Texans have a bull.
Well, when I looked this up, the Chargers are one of 5 NFL teams without a mascot.
Yeah, well, the
Green
Commanders are
Bay-
on. But then I looked up. Do the Commanders have an official mascot? And they do. It's like the fucking Mr. Pigskin, or whatever the fuck his name is.
So
We have said that
The
teams
Chiefs.
that are on this list.
I don't think you've said. Okay, it's NFC East.
NFC East, the Eagles, the Commanders, the Giants, and last but not least, the Cowboys. So we've
There you
guessed
go.
the Cowboys.
The
Did you
Giants
guess
was like
Giants?
our
'Cause I
second
don't-
guess.
Okay,
Yo,
sorry, I did not hear that.
I was gonna say Giants were early guess. Very
I
early.
should
I
walk
did
out
not
right
hear
now.
that. You guys, I thought for sure you guys guessed Giants on the first question, but not this question.
I could be wrong.
We pretty
I
much
could be
just
wrong.
rattled
is.
every team twice over the last 10 minutes.
All right, so let me just go over them again. The Chargers have whatever the Bolt thing is, but it's not an official mascot, so you can't
No.
count it. Okay, Giants don't have a mascot. The Jets don't have anything, and the Packers just go based off tradition. They don't have a mascot. They don't need one, pretty much. And
Interesting.
come to think of it, I'm like, I've never ever seen the Packers mascot, and I never thought about that until I saw this stat.
Yeah, I mean, think of the
Probably 'cause
cheese head,
they
I
don't
guess.
have one.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point, Red.
I mean, the Commanders did have one, but they had to get rid of him, and then they had to figure out some questionable.
I think we need
Football
to
team.
yeah. We need to rename this segment TTTTTLTH. Just time with Texas Hunter, trivia legend, table tennis treasure, tenacious hunter, because we can't put trivia in front of that. We're just saying names of teams for 15 minutes. That's not trivia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guessed 3 of these when I looked up the question, so it is what it is.
Whatever you think is easiest, do that. Because apparently
Okay.
that was like easy, and we did not do so hot on those.
It's fair. Well, I'll get some better questions then next time, something that you could actually answer. Apparently, who
Give us
has
some
won
I like that
the
idea.
most Super Bowl rings? What kicker has made the longest field goal?
You could do
Ridiculous.
teams
Those
with
are actual trivia
teams
questions.
with colors in their logo.
Yeah,
would be
but
like
everybody
it.
knows those trivia questions. Can't just
That's
give
true.
you those.
It's hard when we don't know them either. The listeners definitely hate us right now.
Yeah, because you guys are fucking dumb. But if if a listener is going looking at it, they're just shouting at the screen. Oh, Chargers!
That's all we
It's a
did
lightning
for the
bolt.
last 10
Yeah.
minutes. Just say teams.
When I say Giants and you say, nope, the Giants have a mascot, and then I don't guess them for the next 15 minutes because I've already guessed them, it's
I can't wait to look back at the footage. I'll eat my words when I look back, but I didn't hear that shit at all. So
fair enough. And I will say, every single listener we have is smarter than all 4 of us combined. That is a known fact. We are not arguing that at all. All right, it is time now for Handicap Hour. Today, obviously, is a good day for Handicap Hour because it is the present. We don't take anything for granted, and we open presents every single day, not just on Christmas. Handicap Hour, if you are new to the show, Redden and I kind of are going to, we workshop this, but we're going to break it down for you. Redden, do we pick the winner or the loser in these games?
we pick the winner.
Of course. And we don't just only pick the winner. What else do we do?
We pick the spread. We say by how much they're going to win by.
And we do this without looking at what the books have said. So this is a gut feeling / what we've seen in the past. Then we compare it to what the books have said, and you do with that information what you will. Not gambling advice by any means, because you certainly do not want to take gambling advice from me. Now, let's just jump right on into it. Thursday night, we got Vikings at Rams. I went Vikings minus 6.5. I think the Vikings are still a good team, even though they did lose to the Lions. But the Rams, they look rough. Cooper Kupp, maybe on the trade block. Things aren't looking great there. What do you have, Red?
Yeah, I think the Vikings are probably like a top 6 team in the NFL right now. They lost to the Lions, but the Lions are 1 or 2 probably in the NFL, so I don't put too much weight behind that loss. I'm taking the Vikings minus 9.5.
Interesting. And then we'll jump into the quad box here. We do have both guys back from their little bathroom break. Well done. Chase, we'll go to you first. Who do you have for Vikings at Rams?
I have Vikings minus 2.5, a little tighter than Redden. I just think Los Angeles isn't quite there yet. A lot of injuries. Vikings look good, top team in the NFL, or one of the top teams, I should say. I think that defense in Minnesota is legit. I think Minnesota not handles them, but wins by at least 3.
Gotcha. And then Hunter, what are your thoughts on that?
I think Vikings are in the hot seat. I think they just went down to, the Lions and got a little whoopee whoop. Give me the Vikings 2.5, minus 2.5. Sorry.
Interesting. Okay, next game. Jumping into our Sunday slate, we got the Packers at the Jags. I think the Packers are a really good team. I think the Jaguars stink. I've got the Packers minus 13.5. What do you got, Red?
I also have the Packers minus 13.5.
Wow.
Hey,
Look at us.
good number.
Look at us.
Good
Yeah,
number.
lucky
All right,
number.
all right,
Good number.
Yeah.
Chase, what do you have here? Do you think that the Packers can win it by 2 touchdowns, or do you have it tighter?
I have it tighter. I went 4.5, a little more conservative.
Dang.
Give me my 5 points,
Much closer to what the books have. They have them at 4. I should mention the Vikings were favored to win by 3 in the books, realm there. I will throw that in after all 3 of our picks. Hunter, your thoughts on the Packers-Jags game?
If the Packers was an alcoholic dad and the Jaguars was a 4-year-old, the Packers are going to take off their belt and whoop them. Give me Packers minus 9.5.
That's a wild take. We got next game up. Cardinals at Dolphins. This one I think is Tua coming back this week. Tyreek Hill said
supposedly.
Tyreek said to start him in fantasy, so that could be big. I did go based on that, and I took the Dolphins minus 2.5. What do you got, Red?
Yeah, I said Dolphins minus 4.5. I'm worried that Tua is not going to be good at quarterback now that he's had his 85th concussion, but who knows? Tyreek said they're going to be good. I'm going to trust Tyreek here. Give me the Dolphins minus 4.5.
Tyreek's a good guy to go with, and obviously we know that Tua will not be wearing the Guardian cap just due to personal decisions. So I don't know how long he'll last, but we do know that his helmet will be lighter. He'll be able to fly around on the field a little bit more than we would probably
be able to
expect
fly
him
up
to.
to heaven real quick too.
Oh,
ridiculous.
All right, Chase, what's your pick for the Dolphins here?
Similar thought as you guys. Tua's back. Hopefully he plays well. Hopefully he's able to stay in the whole game without suffering another concussion. I got him minus 2.5.
Yes, we do have prayers up for Tua, just for his general health at this point.
Preemptively.
Yes, we're sending them in advance. Hunter, I've already gotten your word from him, so I'm going to leave that alone.
I was just going to say, pray for Tua. You guys didn't trust Bo Brock last week, and Redbone saying he's trusting Tyreek Hill over Bo Brock, so give me the Cardinals minus 2.5.
Riding on the Bo Brock wave, I don't blame you. Next up, we've got one of the dumpster fire games of the week, Jets at Patriots. This one's not going to be fun to watch. I'm not exactly thrilled with my Patriots play this season, but actually, you know what? I was going to say but it's more of an and. Head coach Gerard Mayo said that the team is soft. We stink. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams have had some more time to figure it out. Obviously, the Jets are in win-now mode with the moves they've made. I've got the Jets at 4.5-point favorites here, and Red.
Yeah, I said Jets 3.5. I don't hate the Patriots in this spot just because the Jets are just bad, and they're just not good at winning, which is kind of important when you play football.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the Jets minus 3.5. I do think they get it done, but I think it's going to be a little tighter.
I think winning is an important quality. And Chase, your thoughts on the game?
Very similar thoughts. I don't think the Patriots are good at all. I don't think the Jets are great either. So I got a little tighter at 1.5. I just think hopefully that Jets offense starts clicking. Jets defense is bad, but the Patriots offense is not great either. So.
Yeah, you're exactly. That's my sentiment. Hunter, your thoughts?
I mean, this looks like a game that you wouldn't even want to go to unless you had a free ticket and you were drinking since, maybe 8 a.m. in Boston. You're just like, hey, let's go to this game and let's watch what happens. I think that the Jets are going to lose this game, actually. I think Drake May, if he's starting, he's going to shock the world. Let's do Patriots 1.5.
Interesting. The books have the Jets at 7-point favorites there. Next up, we've got the Ravens at Browns as I think that literally the whole AFC North is just the next 8 games are 6 interdivisional games. They have just a rough stretch of it. I have the Ravens at 13.5 here. The Browns trade away Amari Cooper. Obviously, that was last week. But the Ravens, I think, are still one of the better teams in the league. What do you have here, Red?
Yeah, the Browns are in complete tank mode. They're selling off all their spare parts. I'm going Ravens minus 19.5. I think they just handle them.
That's a big spread.
Yep.
Chase, your thoughts?
I am not as ballsy as you guys, obviously. Cool. I keep them a little tighter. Where am I at? Ravens minus 4.5.
That's low.
I mean, Jameis Winston's playing, so anything can happen. Where are we at?
No, you're right. I just think that that's a really low number, but you are right. Jameis Winston being in does give the Browns new life. I should have probably taken that into account, but I think realistically, it's probably going to be the Ravens here. Hunter, your thoughts on this game? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chase, I did interject. The floor is yours.
The reason I have it tighter is because I think that Browns defense is actually very good.
Yeah.
They just have no offense to go with it, and maybe Jameis can give them a little spark, keep it close, not win the game, though.
See that.
Eat a W. Let's eat one.
You got the Browns here then?
Cleveland. No. I've been to Cleveland, and the whole city sucks. It's a lot of lonely, desperate people. So, there's more nooses getting tied than knots. And I'd say that Just sorry, man. I didn't mean to say it. I didn't know it was that bad.
How much of this are we going to be able to keep?
Well, all of it.
Just
Um,
dismissals, like I said.
yeah.
God.
So, give me the Crows at let's go minus 9.5.
Okay. Next up, we got Eagles, Bengals, staying a little bit in the division, keeping a toe in there. I got, I don't know, this is kind of a close one. I thought the Bengals at 2.5. They're kind of getting into that mid to late season, what do you want to call it, like burst after their early season kind of woes. I think that the Eagles are a mediocre team at best, and I think this will be close. Your thoughts, Red?
Yeah, I'm kind of going the same way. I'm going Cincy minus 3.5. I wanted deep down to take the Eagles. I want to say Saquon's going to rush for 150, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Jamar Chase scores 2 touchdowns. Joe Burrow rushes for 1. Give me Cincy minus 3.5.
Okay, Chase, your thoughts?
I went back and forth this game a lot. I was having a pretty hard time picking it. I went Eagles -1 as a pick 'em. I just think the Bengals defense is bad. I think the Eagles can put up points. Bengals will try to. It'll be close. It'll probably be a close game, but when it comes down to defenses, Eagles have a better defense in my opinion, and that's about all I got. So.
Well, you're on the right side of the ball. The books have the Eagles at 2.5-point favorites there. Hunter, your thoughts on our picks there?
Yeah, solid words that Chase said. I think it'd be great if the Bengals won, just so the NFC East can get the Cowboys one step closer. But I don't think the Commanders are slowing down at any time. But give me the Bengals -2.5.
Interesting. Next up, we got Colts at Texans, an interdivisional matchup yet again. AFC South this time. I think the Texans are really good. I do have the Texans as 3.5-point favorites, so not quite as big of a spread as we've seen this week. But I don't know if I believe in the Colts. What do you think, Red?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't believe in the Colts, especially if Joe Flacco's not playing. I don't believe in the Texans as much as some people do. I am taking them -6.5, but I do think that people talk about them like they're a top 5 team in the NFL. They're probably closer to maybe top 10 or 12, somewhere in that range.
Gotcha.
So I'm taking them 6.5, but I don't think they're as good as people think.
I see. And Chase, as we round out this game.
Same thought. I got a -3.5. Just don't trust the Colts at all. Texans are a better team in my opinion.
I think so, and so do the books. Texans -5 is the line per the pages. What do you have, Red? Excuse me, Hunter. What are your thoughts?
I am one of those big believers in the Texans, and I think they are like a top 6 team, and they're not the top 5. But the way I would put it is that the Colts are going to smack them. Give me like Texans 10, 11.5.
Okay, interesting way to put that for sure. As we move into the second half of the slate here, getting ready to roll. Titans at Lions. This could be a interesting matchup because the Lions are one of the better teams. Titans starting to sell off all their parts. They make a trade, not selling off their, was that a linebacker they traded away or a D lineman? But obviously everybody talked about Hopkins to the Chiefs. We'll get into that in just a minute. Don't you worry. I think the Lions are 8.5-point favorites here. Personally, what do you think, Red?
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions -20.5. I think they probably win this game 42-20.
That's our biggest spread we've seen this far. Do not get it twisted. That's a big number. Chase, are you going that high?
Not that high. I got Lions -9.5. Just better team than Tennessee. Tank mode for Tennessee. Give me Lions. Put up a field goal and a touchdown on them.
Interesting. I like it. I like it. The books do as well. They got the Lions at 11-point favorites. Your thoughts, Hunter?
I'll bump that. Let's go 13.5.
Okay. That's a lot of points, but 2 touchdowns is definitely doable. Next up, Falcons at Bucks. Yet another interdivisional matchup as we start to get into these games that matter just a little bit more. Bucks had a few huge losses on Monday Night Football. The Chris Godwin one I talked about, in our shorts. I think he's definitely one of the bigger losses to that team. Obviously, Mike Evans has a huge impact, but I think Godwin is one of those unsung heroes of that team, one of my favorite wide receivers, and it was really unfortunate what happened to him as that game came to a close. That being said, I think that all plays into my pick for the Falcons, -6.5 here. Red, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons -2.5. If they had Mike Evans and they had Chris Godwin, this is, Bucks -6.5, but I'm taking the Falcons -2.5. The Bucks are just too injured.
Okay. Chase, what do you think of those? I don't know if I like that line that close.
I have it pretty close as well. I got it 3.5. Not quite as close, but just right there. Same thought as Redden. Bucks are too injured right now. Their offense, 2 main weapons are gone. They're going to have to run the ball a lot. See if Bucky Irvin can provide.
They'll be pretty one-dimensional for sure. The books seem to agree. 2.5-point favorites are the Falcons there. We are all on the same side of the ball, though. Hunter, your thoughts?
I'm on that same side. I think, Mayfield's going to be like running around with a chicken with his head cut off. He just lost all his weapons. So give me the other bird. Give me the Falcons. Let's go just -4.5.
Okay. Next up, we've got Chase's game of the week. Saints at Chargers. We just talked about Mr. Boltman, whatever his name was. Apparently, the Saints have a logo because they were not brought up in TTTTT LTH. But I think the Chargers are 1.5-point favorites here. I think it's going to be a complete crap game either way. It's probably one of those 4 o'clock games. I haven't seen the time, but it'll probably be – I mean, those games are always worse for some reason. What do you think of this one, Red?
Yeah, I said Chargers -2.5. Not much to this. Chargers -2.5.
Agreed. Chase?
Same wavelength as Redden. I got him -2.5. Saints just aren't good this year anymore, and it's hard. It's hard to come to that. I think it's time to maybe blow it up.
Really? But Kamara just got signed.
He's the only guy we got. Our defense is old.
He's old as dude. He's like 9,000 years old. Him and Michael Thomas were drafted in 1940.
No, Kamara's old. Our defense is old. All we have is Kamara. Unless he can do it on his own, they're not winning the game probably. I'll still be rooting for the Saints, but I got the Chargers -2.5.
Well, the books have them at 7. What are your thoughts here, Hunter?
I think the Saints do suck, and I think the Chargers are going to strike them down with a big old lightning bolt. Give me the Chargers like -11.5.
Wow, that's a big spread. Next up, we got Bills at Seahawks. Land animal versus flying bird. I think they fly at least. I've got the Bills at -4.5 here. I think the Bills are definitely solid, but we saw last week, I think the Seahawks performed a lot better than I thought they would, so I gave them some credit in this pick. Your thoughts, Red?
Yeah, I said Bills -6.5. Seahawks, they're just not quite there yet. Bills have Josh Allen. Bills 6.5.
Fair enough. Chase?
I got Bills a little tighter at 1.5. I think Seattle can put up points. I think there's going to be a lot of points put up in this game. Bills just have a better offense, so I think they edge them out.
Okay, Hunter, your thoughts before we dive into what the books say on that?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those Bills games where they just lose for no reason. So give me the Seahawks 1.5.
I could see the Seahawks winning this game. I really could, but I think it's more probable that the Bills walk away with it. The books have the Bills at 3-point favorites, so just a field goal there. Next up, we got Bears-Commanders. The pick of, what is this, battle 1 and 2 if Jaden Daniels does play. His rib is injured, questionable to play, whatever the actual designation is. I'm not quite sure, but I want to see him play. I think we would be robbed of a great game if it's not Jaden Daniels, but still, either way, I do, with that even in account, I do have the Commanders at 3.5-point favorites here. What do you think, Red?
Yeah, I unfortunately think Jaden Daniels is not going to play. I do think we're going to be robbed of Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels.
God damn it!
With Jaden Daniels out, I'm going to take the Bears -4.5. I'm not sure who the Commanders' backup quarterback is, but whoever it is, I do not have faith in them.
It's not Jaden Daniels. I know that.
Mariota?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
don't trust him. One pick.
Talk about a guy drafted in the 40s. Jesus.
Yeah, literally. Chase, what do you think?
You know, I have been riding the Commanders all year. They've made me a ton of money.
Oh, boss.
Dang it!
Keep going. Just keep going.
But I think they're dogs. I'm going to take the Commanders no matter what in this game, whether Jaden plays or not. Mariota played pretty well. Jaden went out early last game, and they still put up 34 or something of that sort. It is against the Panthers, and the Panthers fucking suck. But I like the Commanders. They're a scrappy team. Defense is starting to look a little better. Mariota it fits in the system well, it seemed like. So I got him -2.5.
He is a bit of a similar play style to Jaden Daniels, obviously not quite the same caliber. The books are on the other side of the ball. Bears at -3. Hunter, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's pretty much just if Jaden Daniels is playing or not. And if he is, Commanders 1.5. If not, Bears 1.5.
Okay, so pretty much a pick 'em. That's not a. Actually, I'm kind of surprised you're not giving Jaden Daniels more credit there. Next up.
Fuck Jaden Daniels.
The Chiefs have done it again, and I'm so fucking sick of it. The Chiefs bring in D-Hop. Now, they go on the road to the Raiders. They're probably going to win this game by fucking 50. but also the Chiefs keep every single game close. I have them at 5.5-point favorites. I do not want to say another goddamn word about this game. What do you think, Red?
Yep, ditto. But I have the Chiefs minus 8.5. I think that the Raiders are just bad. Chiefs 8.5, and they probably cover that like late on a field goal or something.
Agreed. Chase.
Right there with you. Chiefs like to keep it close. I got them 6.5. I got them at plus money last week, so I was happy about that. But other than that, I don't like to see him winning.
Well, the Chiefs are currently 10-point favorites by the book. I guess they took into account the refs. That's an interesting call there. What do you think, Hunter?
Yeah. I was about to say bump that up to 13.5. I'm pissed off about the D-Hop trade because I already have Mahomes, Pacheco whenever he gets healthy, Xavier Worthy, and Travis Kelce. So now our fantasy is just completely fucked because there's no way everybody can score on the same fucking game unless they're playing the Raiders. So, give me the Chiefs. Let's go minus 16.5. Fuck it.
Okay, that's a pretty big spread, but not quite up to the 20s like Redden got into earlier. A game that could see 20 points total. We have the Panthers at the Broncos this week. I think I have the Broncos at 2.5-point favorites, but this is not a game I'll be watching. What do you think, Red?
Yeah, I also
a game that could
Broncos.
see 20 viewers total too. Sorry, continue.
I'm also saying Broncos minus 2.5. But I think Bo Nix plays well.
Yes.
And I think Bryce Young, people are going to watch this game. Storyline after it is Bryce Young back.
I like the story. I like the storyline predictions that we bring out in this because they're usually pretty accurate. Chase, your thoughts on the game?
Is Bryce Young playing in this game?
Potentially. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, God damn it.
Well,
dude,
the Panthers
are
terrible.
There you go, Chase. You almost had it.
Spitting facts. Oh, my God. Look at him. He's
shit.
Must be another bathroom break.
He's toast. Yeah, he had to go run to the bathroom real quick. What do you think of that, Hunter?
Bro, switched races. We're just thinking, this game's going to suck either way. I've been to Denver. I've been in Carolina, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Both. Wait, they maybe in South. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
they're
Charlotte.
In Carolina.
Yeah. They're in a Carolina. I just know that both places suck. I know that both teams are not good. I think Bo Nix is going to swamp them. Give me the Broncos to trample over the Panthers at minus 9.5.
Okay, the books.
Am I back?
Yeah. Chase is back. Chase, did you have anything else to add to the Broncos game?
I don't know what got in there before I cut out, but Panthers bad, Broncos 5.5.
Interesting. The books have them at 10-point favorites. That feels like a lot. I don't know if they'll score that many points.
Yeah, they will.
It's a bold call. Next up, we've got Cowboys at 49ers for our Sunday night football game. What would normally be a classic is probably going to stink this year if we're being completely real. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk injury last week. Debo, I did see a statement right before we went live. I didn't have time to read it. I think he is out of the hospital now. I don't know if he'll be playing or not. And then obviously all the other injuries that are riddling the 49ers. Then you look over at the Cowboys camp. They just fucking stink, period. They are bad. There is no ifs, ands, or buts any way around that. That bush goes for miles, just like it does in Over the Hedge. I have the 49ers at 2.5 here. I don't know if that's quite enough, but I also don't know if they'll score enough points to cover anything more than that. What do you think, Rhett?
Yeah, I also have the 49ers minus 2.5.
Okay.
The 49ers are the most hurt team in football right now, but they need to win this game.
Agreed.
For the rest of their season, so it's kind of like a do or die for them.
Yep.
So I think they're going to go all out for it. I really badly wanted to take the Cowboys, but then I remembered how abysmal the Cowboys are as a franchise, and I was like, we'll stick with the 49ers.
I agree. I hear the sigh from Hunter. I'll get to you in a second. Chase, what do you think of this Sunday night football game?
I actually have the same exact line as you guys at 2.5.
Wow.
Niners. Cowboys are bad. I don't believe in them. This game could be a blowout, but for some reason, I have a little gut feeling this could be the Cowboys, we're back party, but who knows? I like them 2.5.
I don't know if I agree, but the books certainly do not. The books have 49ers at 4-point favorites. Hunter, what are your thoughts on your hometown Cowboys basically being the laughing stock of the NFL? Excuse me.
Well, I appreciate that, Marv. I would be upset with you guys, and I would probably be screaming in my mic to the point where you wouldn't even hear me if I did not believe that everything you guys were saying it would be true. There's a lot of hills I'll die on, but the Cowboys being absolute shit and me defending that is not one of those hills. and I think we're absolute shit this year. But like Chase said, we need the we're back week, and there's a reason that the NFL put this in prime time. Even though we're America's team, this will also be
You're
America's win.
You're no longer American.
You are no longer America's team. I think everyone can agree on that.
Oh, so who is it? Who is it, Chase?
The
The
Lions.
Saints?
It's the Lions.
Oh, it's not the
We-
Lions.
We do
It's
not
not the
condone the
Lions.
Chiefs there. I don't know about that.
No.
Yeah.
That's a
Disgusting.
Redden take, not a Marv On
Disgusting.
Air take.
There's a reason the Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in the entire world. Give me the
Because Jerry
Cowboys.
Jones is measuring schlongs. That's why. He's doing what other owners won't.
Dang it.
Give me the Cowboys with a no sweat field goal from Brandon Aubrey, 2.5.
I seriously cannot wait for the Cowboys to win this game by 50 points. And then everyone's like, oh, the Cowboys have figured it out. Excuse me, Chase, as you leave. The Cowboys have figured it out. And then all of a sudden,
The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town.
you'll hear it ringing through Dallas. And then guess what? They'll lose every game the rest of the year. And everyone will enjoy it.
We'll play the Commanders next week or some shit, and it's just going to be blowout by 35 points.
Yeah, no, I think that will happen. Although I do have the 49ers at 2.5-point favorites there. Last game of the week, Giants at Steelers. I was very, very surprised by the Steelers' play this weekend. Was that Monday? No, Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
Why
they
are
played-
the Steelers getting so many primetime games? Can we
Because
talk
they
about
are
that?
a prime time team. Russ, prime time, Mr. Unlimited is back.
And he had Justin Fields, primetime television. It's ridiculous.
They got two
Like, they're
primetime
putting-
quarterbacks.
Two of them.
Dude, they're putting the Steelers like in these primetime slots. This is the third week in a row.
I'll
What's
tell you
gonna
this
happen
much.
next week.
I'd rather watch the Steelers in primetime than the Patriots. I'll tell you that much. That's
Fair.
That's a fair statement. I don't think you can
Yeah, it's
disagree
'cause
with
they
me
actually
there.
have to pick a good team.
I think if the Russ Wilson Steelers play like they did last week, they win this game handily. The Giants stink. And I actually was very, very surprised by Russ Wilson's play. I thought he put every ball where he needed to, and obviously didn't run as much, but there's still the potential for that calf injury lingering. I've got the Steelers minus 10.5 here. What do you think, Red?
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers minus 8.5. I think we have one more week before Russell Wilson comes back down to earth, and we are like, oh yeah, that's why this guy stinks. But I think we have one more week of Russie looking good. So give me the Steelers minus 8.5.
Interesting. And now I'm going to pull to Chase. We'll see if he's back. Oh, excuse me.
That's Hunter.
Hello,
He's
Jay.
back. Chase is,
Look at that guy.
Chase
Yeah.
is back. What's your take real quick on that Monday Night Football game between the Steelers and the Giants?
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
that's-
that, Chase. Yeah, that's
That
a
was beautiful.
great
Hot
point.
take there. That's-
Marv, I
yeah.
can take it from here. The thing that I would say is that I think this might be one of Mike Tomlin's big wins, to sort of get towards that, non-losing season. I think that's the only reason that they'll probably win, in my opinion.
Well, the Mike Tomlin effect is certainly a strong one. And with that being said, we're going to test it. He's sort of there. I mean, it's not black.
Chase is not there.
I keep coming in and out. I don't know what's going on.
Spit it out. Spit it out quick. What do you think? Okay, well.
Completely agree
Yeah,
again,
he couldn't
Chase.
get it off.
Yes.
man.
Once again.
Get it off.
His chance.
Beautiful.
Oh, God. All
You
right.
nailed that, Chase.
With that being said, that wraps up our handicap hour for the week.
Hey, yo.
As this week wraps up, we'll have 3 weeks of data under our belt, and we'll be able to tell you guys, hey, Red, when he's doing this, it's like working well. Hunter doesn't really have as much of a pick. He's not in our database, but we're keeping track of everything. Wins, losses, distance from the spread, money line, wins and losses. Like we said last week.
You could not give me promo money to bet on that motherfucker in the flannel on the couch's spread. I can tell you that.
I think
Hey,
he's
no
actually
way.
pretty accurate.
Yeah, you
He's
can
one
just
of-
use real money. You don't need promo bets for
Yeah,
that.
he's one of our more accurate bettors. Certainly, if you are going to tail, we are not condoning that. We don't even condone betting, really, I think, at this
I
point.
do
until we're
condone
sponsored
it,
by
and
FanDuel.
I say you do condone it, and you just bet for me, or
Well-
Chase. Chase going 12-0, right?
Definitely. Well, that was money line. That was a few weeks ago. Do not follow me, period. I'm the worst gambler of all time. Every time I put money in there, it's just a donation.
Quick break from the video to bring you this advertisement from one of our sponsors. This episode of Marv On Air is brought to you by West Ames IV. West Ames IV is your one-stop shop for all things grocery and household items. West Ames IV provides you with a great customer experience and premium products all in an easy and convenient way. You can shop in-store, sign up for curbside pickup, or even get your groceries delivered right to your door. Here at Marv On Air, we love Hy-Vee, and we know you will too. Stop by West Ames Hy-Vee today, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. Now, here's Zero to Hero of the Week.
Finally, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Zero to Hero. We'll jump right on into it. I will not go to Hunter because he does not like to go first, apparently. Red, who is your zero this week?
Yeah, my zero of the week is going to be the Texas fans throwing all that trash on the field.
Are you fucking kidding me? I said that shit.
You said you didn't want to go first.
Oh my god.
You said you didn't want to go first.
You are so ridiculous. You know that? That's fucking so stupid.
You know what's crazy is you didn't want to go first, and then you said that you actually hate Texas, so the fact that you would want to bring up Texas second doesn't make any sense. I don't see how Red's in the wrong here.
How was I supposed to know you
I have 3 heroes, and I had 1 0, and he fucking stole it.
How was I supposed to know that?
Yeah, why would we assume you would bring up Texas when every single time we talk about them, you're like, oh, don't ever put me and Texas in the same sentence again.
All right, continue. I'll bite my tongue on this one. But I know what my 0 is now.
I'm a little terrified, to be honest. I will go second here. Actually, do you want to elaborate on the Texas situation? I'll let you go.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, the whole thing. The fact that the call got overturned is just, insane. I don't know how that works.
That's wild.
It set an insane precedent that, thankfully, the NCAA did rectify that and say, hey, actually, we're going to fine all these people, and they're not going to be allowed back in games. That needed to happen. Otherwise, this was going to happen at every college football game ever for probably 7 or 8 times a game, and it was going to be the worst thing ever. So the NCAA did get something good for once and kind of rectified the situation. But overall, Texas fans are terrible people. Right, Hunter?
Yeah, and I'll jump right into my 0. They're second to Nebraska fans. I think that if there's one thing that I can say that I hate in this world consistently, it's the University of Nebraska at Lincoln.
What about at Omaha?
Oh, no, Omaha doesn't matter. It's only University of Nebraska at Lincoln. The only team that actually doesn't show out weekend to weekend, loses to shitty football teams, and barely makes a run. I can't remember the last time Nebraska was ranked above 15, and I don't think you can either, Redbone. I don't think you can, Redbone, either, because you probably weren't even born yet. It's just something to think about.
2012.
Oh, okay. So you probably couldn't even read when you were 10. Let me just put it this way. Nebraska is terrible, and they are my 0 for probably ever until, the next person doesn't steal my 0 out from under me. I just had the rug. Watcha! All right, Marv, what is your 0?
My 0 for the week is the 24/7 Sports account. They tweeted, or was it an Instagram post? They put it out either way that Quinn Ewers would be sitting the rest of the year, and just to prepare for the draft, I guess, and that Arch Manning would be jumping in. And then that's not necessarily the problem I have. I think that's fine. Whether it's true or not, it's a post. It's not the end of the world. It's them saying that they got hacked for me. There's no way that whole template and graphic and everything was made up while they were there's just no way. They definitely posted it. They definitely used information that they shouldn't have, I guess, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But saying you got hacked is where my problem lies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that was just a weird deal. I hope he sits out the rest of the year. I think that'd be hilarious.
I would love it.
That would be awesome.
I would love it. That would be.
He's just I'm out.
It'd be like
we lost. I'm out.
Yeah, the ultimate troll on Arch Manning's plan to be a backup.
It'd be awesome if Arch just dipped too.
Oh,
that'd be awesome. I don't know who their third stringer is.
Yeah, their punter, I guess. That'd be pretty sick. Hunter, who's your hero for the week?
My hero. I was going back and forth. A lot, but I think it is Dicker the kicker for Chargers. I was down, Marv. I'm not going to lie. I was down to 18 points going into Monday Night Football against my boss in fantasy football, right?
Oh, that's when you can't lose, too.
I go, oh, yeah. I was like, if I lose this one, everybody's going to think I just, did it because, he's my superior. But then I came in, Dicker did his job, and he scored 5 for 5 in Monday Night Football and got me 21 points, and I beat my boss by 3.
Wow.
And that was
Did you get fired?
I did not, actually. Surprisingly, I did not.
That's good news. I have to give you maybe the hero goes to your boss.
Maybe my hero goes to Dicker the kicker.
Fair enough.
And I also have Chase's hero, if you guys care to hear
I
this.
think I'm here.
Oh,
Chase is here. Oh,
You know what they say? You know what they say? I'm here.
Better
I'm
late
here.
than never.
I'm here.
Speak of
here,
the
we're here,
devil,
we're
and
here.
Satan shows up.
What are we doing? Hero here?
Yeah.
Hero.
Zero?
Hero.
Yeah. I need confirmation from someone besides Hunter.
Oh, give me your
We can hear you,
zero.
Chase.
Give me your zero first.
My zero is the Florida State curse.
Okay.
That would be because the guy or some guy was trying to break the curse by eating dog shit, and then it came out that it was fake and it was not actual dog shit. So
Do we know what it was? It's a
I
chocolate.
have no idea.
It was human shit.
Does that make the curse worse? Is that how that works?
Yeah, they are not winning the game the rest of the year.
No, that's a tough look. All right, and then you can jump right into your hero since everyone else did not have technical difficulties and did our zeros.
Yes, I would like to apologize for my technical difficulties, but my hero is open kicker tryouts. Florida State's head coach said
Florida
that
State?
Arizona State.
Arizona State, that's on me.
His mind's having technical difficulties too.
I'm just thinking of the curse. Florida State sucks, is what it is. But they said they're going to have open kicker tryouts Monday, as in 2 days ago, because their kicker could not make a field goal.
I just don't understand that because like TCU has, I think, 3 place kickers like on their roster that dress, which is insane as is. But like you have enough room to have more than one kicker, and you're a big school, so you can definitely, bring those guys in. Definitely have walk-ons who are like, I need my moment. Why do they need open like kicker tryouts? Do you only have one kicker? Like that should be on the head coach. You know what I mean?
Chase, do you think you can make a 35-yard field goal?
If I had enough practice at it, I would say yes, but I've never been claimed to be a kicker, and I suck at kicking, so probably not.
Interesting. That's not that's not a common one. I feel like Hunter would definitely have answered yes, and I do not think he would make it.
I'm a big proponent in kicking is easy, and I think if you give me a week to figure out how to kick a ball from running up to it 4 yards, I could probably get that sucker maybe 35, maybe 40. Definitely I could get some PATs for the team. I can't, I'm saying if you get me in field goal range, like they have that little line for J Tuck, it's on like the 45-yard line. For me, it would probably be at like the 25. But hey, I mean, put me there and just see what I can do. Let me work my leg. Let me get my third leg out and show you who can put one through the uprights.
That's fair. That would be a 42-yard field goal. That's pretty far. Chase's look of disbelief pretty much should encapsulate everyone's thoughts on that take. For the listeners out there, just go to the YouTube and look at Hunter for yourself. You'll definitely get why Chase made that face. Red, who's your hero for the week?
My hero of the week is going to be the World Series.
Ooh.
It is baseball time. We don't talk a ton of baseball on this show, but we do have Yankees-Dodgers, kind of a battle of two of the biggest teams in baseball. I think if America had a vote, we would choose that both teams lose the World Series. Unfortunately, we don't, and they are going to play this game. I'm sure it'll do massive ratings. It will be awesome to have Aaron Judge going up against Shohei Ohtani, but regardless, it would have been way cooler if we did have an underdog in this and both teams weren't spending like $8 billion on their roster. It's just insane.
I don't.
Agree.
So all of America does not want this World Series to happen. If there was like a job recruiter who wanted the biggest hater in the world, if your application came across the table, Redbone, it would be treated as like a gold plate. Like I just don't understand why this is your hero. This should be the zero, and it should have been the Subway Series, but we just don't have that. That's unfathomable to me. Like that should be the zero.
Just imagine if Shohei comes in and pitches like a Game 7 and wins it all, though. How sick would that be?
That'd be pretty
I think it's gonna go to like Game 5, maybe.
Who do you have then?
Who's going to win?
Oh, the Dodgers. The Dodgers are gonna whoop them.
Wow, that's a hot take. I don't know,
That's
actually.
not a
I
hot
don't know
take.
anything about baseball.
I think that's favored with every single sports book ever.
5,
but,
though?
yeah.
Feels fast.
Not
There's no-
5, but I mean, yeah.
Okay,
Just
interesting.
the Dodgers winning in general.
Okay, well, I think I may have brought the best hero to the table this week. You guys ready for this?
Yes.
My hero for
My
the week.
mom.
My dad. My hero for the week is Minecraft football edits. I fucking love these, dude. If you're not familiar, did he just leave? I think he left.
I think he left.
No, just playing. That's the worst thing ever. Dude,
Bro.
Nobody's getting creative with these.
Do not tell me Villager Tech is going down to Pig State, okay? They may have built the $1.3 million stadium, okay? Maybe Creeper A&M was a tight game, okay? Spider Tech, don't get me started on the Spider Tech. Villager, I think it's Villager Tech. Best walkout in all of Minecraft football. I don't remember what the cow team is. I love the edits. Keep them coming. I almost like them more than Tavon Austin's highlight tape. I watch those for hours. I'm looking for full games online. If you do this content, DM me. I will watch every single video of yours 10 times over. I love them. Keep them coming.
No one,
the edits are sick.
No, dude, nobody. Like, they're Old Moose, that's the best name I've ever seen. But, like, Villager Tech, they're not even trying anymore. No one has, like, good names for everything that's in Minecraft.
Don't you talk shit on the bombing of Pig State, okay? That is a sensitive subject.
Gosh.
That is not funny. Okay?
We got,
the fact that you guys know this much about this is just pathetic.
I am not cut up in this at all.
I'm pretty sure they have alpacas. Why don't they have Alpaca State, like Appalachian State? Like, nobody is using their mind when they're coming up with these team names.
I'm a little disappointed in you, Nick. I mean, paying attention to fictional football tracks for a TCU fan, but for an Iowa Stater, like, at least you have a real team that is worth watching.
I just take on as much football as I can, dude. I'm watching all the NFL games, all the college football games. I need my fix. I need more. Right now, the CFL and the USFL are not in. That means the MFL is in. The Minecraft Football League is my third fix.
Oh my god!
Fair enough.
Shout out Pig State. You guys are one of my favorite teams out there for real. All right, that's going to conclude.
They'll see this.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. This is going to conclude this week's episode of Marv On Air. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to leave a like and a subscribe. If you're listening on Anchor, or that's where we post it, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we appreciate you guys as well. You guys are the unsung heroes that help us be able to do this every single day. With that being said,